Hi everybody. Thank you very much for watching this video, which is regarding the internship scheme that the Digital Good Network has launched. Some of you will have heard of this scheme before because we've run it previously in a previous year of the network. We're looking forward to receiving applications for this, our second round of the Digital Good Network Research Internship Scheme. My name is Ros Williams. I am the Associate Director of the ESRC Digital Good Network, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you join us for this webinar, which hopefully you can watch in your own time and, of course, share with others who might be interested in this opportunity. You'll be reading this most likely because you already know about the ESRC Digital Good Network, but if you do not, I think it's worth just rehearsing a few of the key foci of our network, what it is we look to do as a collective. And the main thrust of the Digital Good Network is the building of a research community, which will be focused on what a good digital society should look like, but also how it is that we might get there. For those of you already aware of our work, you'll know that one of our key drivers is bringing different disciplines and sectors together, which of course this scheme is part of doing in our move towards that. We support and fund interdisciplinary research and fellowships, as well as this internship scheme. We provide a great deal of training, including an annual summer school, which some of you may have heard about this internship scheme through, or indeed be joining us for our next summer school this summer in 2025. We also host events. This includes talks, exhibitions, data sprints, and the like. And we're really engaged with different policymakers, industry actors, and practitioners across community and civil society. So as a network, we are very busy, as you can imagine. And as I say, building a research community is really at the very heart of that. As well, what we try to do through our work is hang our hat on three what we describe as societal challenges. These are equity, sustainability, and resilience. You can actually learn about what we mean by each of these through some of the outputs from the network, including our British Academy discussion paper. What do we mean when we talk about a good digital society? You might like to learn more about our framing of these ideas there. But as you will see in the internship application form, we invite you to think about how your proposed activity and how your own research interests map onto these three key areas that in so doing, hopefully will allow us to be able to see how you connect with the network and how you can help us toward that big goal of building a research community. As well, I think it's worth mentioning that one of the key things that we hope to do as a network is develop what we describe as a digital good index. Part of the work that we are doing towards that has actually already been published. You can read about the Digital Society building blocks through our website. You can look at our output page and find that working paper there. Our aim here is to develop an index which can be used to evaluate innovations to ensure good societal outcomes. Internships will feed into the index through the work that you do. And if you do end up getting one of these fellowships, you will work with our team to think about how that which you do in your internship can help to inform our index moving forward. So you're very much part, as I say, of that research community as we move towards this goal of the Digital Good Index. So our second and our final call for the research internship round is now open, and really, really excited to invite applications for people to apply to this scheme. Just to give you a bit of a sense of what's included here, you will hopefully have already seen some of this information on the companion website that relates to the launch of this internship scheme, but we're inviting applications that support opportunities that will give postgraduate research students 3 months of experience working with teams in various sectors and industries. So this might be an academic research project or research that supports industry-based technology development. It could be either of these things, or indeed it might be sort of beyond the remit of that within your imagining. If you've got any kind of questions about the relevance of what you're proposing, then it's certainly something to think about and look at previous interns that we have funded through the blogs that they've written for our website, for example, and explore some of the different areas of interest of the network to make sure that the kinds of thing you're proposing map onto what we do as a network. Vitally, as I mentioned earlier, what you really need to be able to do is explain how the activities that you would like to engage in during that 3-month period will support your own development. This is an absolutely central part of this scheme. One of the key purposes of the network is to develop early career researchers, and the internship scheme is one of our vehicles for enabling us to support early career researcher development. So it's vital that you can explain why this internship is bringing added value to you as a researcher as you develop. Moreover, though, it's really important too that you're able to map this onto our network, our societal challenges, as I said, but also the aims of our network and what it is we're seeking to do, whether that's through our kind of key aims that I mentioned earlier, the index, our societal challenges, or otherwise. Again, familiarising yourself with our work through the website will be central to any successful application here. There will be a deadline later on this year on the 29th of September. And that deadline is intended for you to be able to have time to pull together an application, because it will take some time to pull together one of these applications from you watching this webinar through to actually getting in touch with the host and sort of negotiating what that 3-month activity, that period of activity might include, through to pulling together all the requisite materials, getting support from your supervisor and so on and so forth ahead of that autumn date. As you will anticipate, doing a research internship can be a costly affair, right? So you're asked to do work for a period of time that takes you away from your PhD or doctoral studies, and you'll be expected to take a leave of absence, which likely may pause your research funding. The reason that we can support you for 3 months is because we can pay you a £6,000 lump sum toward your internship scheme support. So you can fund yourself over that period, whether that's living costs and so on and so forth. And the intention there is that it is, in essence, a replacement for your researcher's stipend for the period of that whilst you take that leave of absence. There will be arrangements on how that money is paid and what caveats are in place to ensure that you can successfully receive that money, for example, reporting back on the success of your experience and so on, and at what periods that is paid. But more information of that is available on the website. Now, I did again mention these 3 societal challenges earlier, but I just want to emphasize again how very important it is that you're able to articulate your connection to one of these. Now, it may well be that you can see resonances between your own research profile to date, the intended activity of your internship, and multiple of these societal challenges. But oftentimes we find that more successful applications are really able to articulate a connection to one of these very strongly. And so don't be concerned with trying to sort of, if you like, crowbar yourself into each and every one of these categories. It may well be that one of them is the central thrust of what it is you're trying to do, but making that really very clear in your application form is going to be absolutely vital to how successful you will be through applying to this scheme. As I mentioned earlier as well, there are some resources on our website that give more of a sense of what it is we mean by these different terms. Now, you may find that you have a sort of a disagreement with us, for example, over how you understand resilience. Absolutely fine. Just need you to be able to articulate what you understand by resilience, and how you look to be able to extend the network's thinking in this regard through your work. Now, obviously, you've not done the internship yet, so actually it'd be really very hard to offer a really fulsome characterization of that, but really allowing us to see that there are threads there that you'll be able to pull on over the lifetime of the internship is going to be integral to your success as an applicant. So who then is this scheme for? We would expect all postgraduate researchers, PGRs, to have completed their upgrade, their confirmation review, by the application deadline. We appreciate that different folks will, in different institutions, go through this process in slightly different manners. So if you do have specific questions about this, you can get in touch with us directly, just to kind of clarify clarify this in relation to your own individual case. We are only able to support postgraduate researchers who are based at higher education institutions in the UK. So please do be aware of that when you're thinking of applying here. We would expect all postgraduate researchers to be able to take a leave of absence for the internship period. So this would not run alongside your PhD for 3 months. Your PhD would have to be put on pause for that period. So if you are thinking about applying for this, it would be very sensible for you to have a chat with your, for example, director of postgraduate studies within your department or school, and certainly have a chat with your supervisor about whether there is such a mechanism available to you at your university for you to take a leave of absence to undertake a an internship for that period. That mechanism is very likely to exist at your institution, of course, like a medical leave of absence and so on, but it may well be that there are kind of variations on the leave of absence mechanism that are more or less suitable to the internship scheme that we're providing here. So please do make sure that there is an appropriate mechanism available within your institution that would enable this. And of course, that you have the buy-in of your supervisor, who hopefully will see this as a good opportunity for you, but we'll also see that the internship is taking place at an appropriate time in your research studies. And you do really need to have a conversation with your supervisor, who will, of course, be experienced enough to be able to say whether this is an appropriate opportunity for you, if you're really thinking about it. We, as ever, particularly encourage applications from PGRs, from underrepresented groups. You can learn more about what we mean about that on our webpage, but we're very, very keen to ensure that through the network, the research community that we are building is a diverse one, and that, of course, it comprises a cross-section of the researcher community that represents the society at large. So please do think about that, and do pass this on to potential applicants who may come from underrepresented groups, to encourage them to apply as well. Now, there are different mechanisms which I'll go into more detail for undertaking your internship. We will expect all interns to identify a host. That host could be one of the hosts that we have identified ourselves, and the opportunities for those hosts are available on our web pages. You can have a look at those on there. You'll also see some of them listed here. It may well be that others will come online in the meantime, between me recording this webinar and this being launched, but this isn't indicative. We have CAST, the charity that helps organisations use digital for social good in the UK, BBC Research and Development, and Zinc VC, who are two of our research partners at the Digital Good Network. Both of those will be offering opportunities, and Ofcom, which is obviously based in the UK as well, and they'll have an opportunity available for you to potentially apply for as a potential intern at the Digital Good Network. So there are a range of opportunities that you might be able to apply for. You could also, if you like, choose your own opportunity and pull together an application based around that. I think it's well worth just flagging that this is because it's our second scheme. We do have a bit of a track record now of great success with previous interns who've enjoyed doing internships with the Digital Good Network. I shan't read out each of them here, but you're very welcome to pause this slide and just take a read of each individual applicant's or successful applicant's intern focus. As you'll see, we funded 4 interns to work at BBC Research and Development, or BBC R&D. You'll also see that we funded 2 interns to work at Zinc VC, and this is on particular ventures that Zinc VC supports and funds. And you'll see there Rebecca Ruddock worked with Our Time HQ, a venture from Zinc VC, and Hannah Westwood worked with Unravel, another venture at Zinc VC. So you can read more about their individual internships online. I'll also just mention Vanessa, who worked with the Government Open Innovation team as well. And Vanessa actually found her own opportunity and applied through the alternate stream rather than a host being suggested through the network's existing host relationships. So as you'll see, a strong track record now of interns who have made the most of this opportunity. So you could speak to the BBC R&D experience here with students from that kind of cohort, if you like, of BBC R&D internships, and working together on a book chapter that I believe is under review currently. So they have actively found further opportunities to develop themselves through these internships. And I certainly know, without naming names, that at least 2 of the folks who have taken up internship opportunities in this first round have been offered jobs with their hosts. So it's really exciting as an opportunity, and potentially a genuine door opened for your own career development as you move forward and think about what's next after your doctoral studies, which I know is an intimidating time, having been there myself. So I mentioned, or perhaps intimated, that there are 2 separate processes for locating a host. And there are also, we try to divvy this up into stages as well, so that you can more clearly understand this. So in stage one, there are two different routes for contacting your host. The first is to engage with one of our partner host organizations. You can see a list of some of the host organizations there in the top icon, Digital Good Network Partner Hosts. There is an expression of interest process for that, which you can read more about on the website. Please do keep in mind that deadline, because we will need to manage that deadline quite closely to enable then you to move on to the second stage, which is to complete the application itself by that later deadline of the autumn, 29th of September. So that is the first route, is locating one of the hosts that's on offer through us, through the Digital Good Network. An alternative process would be identifying and engaging with your own host organization. This would require on your part to think about who it is, which organization it is you would like to work with, broker those connections yourselves. It might be that your supervisor has an idea of someone who might be suitable for you for doing an internship. So brokering that connection yourself, also thinking through what the potential body of activity it is you do for 3 months, and clarifying that as a discrete set of activities in that 3-month period, before then moving on to the application stage. There is no deadline, obviously, for locating your individual host, because we, as a network, don't need to broker those relationships through an expression of interest stage. That's something you would need to do individually. So we wouldn't necessarily know that you're applying to us until the 29th of September, when we actually receive your application form from you with your individual host that you've identified yourself. Regardless of which process you take, that application form will go through a review process, and then decisions will be communicated later on in this calendar year. The expectation then being that you would undertake your internship in the following calendar year, in 3 months in 2026. So having kind of moved through that process, I think it's important just to flag what's included in the actual application form itself, what we're going to need from you. So we need to have it really clear in our heads when reviewing your application that you know what it is, that it's clear in your head what it is you will be doing for the period of time of that internship. So we will need a summary of the proposed activities for the internship. And I mention this in the knowledge that things do change. Of course, in the time between a commercial organisation saying we need X and you agreeing to do X, when you actually get on board, they're like, actually, no, X is out of the window, we need Y instead. So we understand that there needs to be a little bit of pliability within these things. So this should be indicative of some of the kinds of things that you might do. Indeed, it might actually be a very, very specific and concrete activity that you will do. For example, a survey and a literature review for a particular organisation, and that's not going to change, and that's definitely what you'll do. Absolutely fine. But of course, as this point to later on this slide, linking that back to the network will be vital. We also need it to be clear what kind of support you will need from the host for this to be undertaken. For example, any desk space or access to specific kinds of data, user base, for example, if you're doing user testing, something like this. And as well, any outputs that you might expect. Could it be a scientific report? Could it be something else, such as a website or application prototype or something like that? And that will be something that we can use to measure the scientific excellence, the research excellence and scientific impact criterion of our review process. We'll also want to know how the internship benefits you. As I said, one of the key areas of focus for the network is capacity building, and we do have a capacity building criterion at the peer review stage for the internship scheme. So you need to make a really good effort here at explaining how the internship will benefit you. Okay, so it's all very well and good to say that it will develop your communication skills, but how will it do that? And how will it do that in a way that you would not have been able to do just through doing your PhD alone, right? Will it expose you to new kinds of sectoral activity or to different disciplinary working styles, different methodologies than you are used to? In what way would doing this internship change things for you? In a way that wouldn't have changed had you not been doing the internship. Effectively, what is the added value of it? And you need to really be able to kind of narrate that in the application form. And that will help us to assess the capacity building criterion. As you'll see as well underlined on the final bullet points I just mentioned, the fit to the digital good network is how we will also assess the application as a criterion for that too. So making it really clear and articulating how all of this then is linking back to the network, to our broader goal, and to our broader goals, I should say, in a variety of different ways, whether that's diversifying the researcher community, whether that is helping us think about sustainability in new and different ways, or whether that is to helping us in specific ways that you can really see a direct connection with the index, for example. More broadly, what we need to be able to see is that you are adding value back to us as a network. So both of those two kind of bullet points there are about value added through this process, both for why this will benefit you, but also why we should fund you. How will it benefit the network and our broader aims to have you as part of that community? If you do want further information about the internship scheme, then you can, and hopefully have already seen, that all of that information is now available on our website. If you click on the opportunities button on our menu and click through to internships, you will see lots of different information there, particularly about, for example, how we expect our organisation, our host organisations to work with you, and then the baseline expectations, whether that's around health and safety or access to particular a working environment if needed for a particular kind of work. We also have more detail on eligibility. More detail, as I mentioned earlier, it is not simply a single payment of £6,000. There is it is a slightly more complicated process than that, and you will need to plot all of that in when you're thinking about leaves of absence and so on, and pausing your PhD stipend. So do take a look at how we pay interns. There's also a frequently asked questions section, as with all of our schemes, for you to learn more. And if you've got any specific questions about the scheme, for example, about your own relationship to the upgrade or confirmation review process, or whether your particular intern potential host is a good fit for the network and this scheme, then don't be afraid to get in touch with info@digitalgood.net, and one of us will be in touch with you. So it's left now just for me to say good luck with your application. It is a really great privilege for us to be able to work with PhD students who are at this period of time in their career where they're thinking about what's coming next. And we really see this scheme as an opportunity for you to flex your sort of muscles outside of the academic space and think about what the future has in store for you. And we hope to be able to sort of inspire you as you think about those next steps after the PhD. So if you have any further questions, as I say, please get in touch via our email address, and we wish you the best of luck with your application, and look forward to receiving yours. Take care. Bye-bye.